My name is Philip, and I'm from Bento Bio. And what we're doing is making biotech accessible to everyone. Okay, what does that mean, making biotech accessible to everyone? To show you, we're going to take a trip back in time. This is a computer. Now, back then, a computer filled an entire room. Computers were big. They only existed in universities and big companies, and they were incredibly difficult to use. Now, let's look at the present. I think every person in this picture has a laptop computer. So what happened? 50 years ago, no one had any idea how big the market for computers would be and how many different things we'd use them for. What happened was the personal computer revolution. Okay, now let me show you what we're doing. We're in biotech. This is a laboratory. A laboratory fills an entire room. Laboratories are big. They only exist in universities and big companies, and they're incredibly difficult to use. Have you heard this somewhere else before? Let me show you our first product. This is Bento Lab. It's a personal laboratory. Bento Lab is fully functional. It contains all the major tools for biotech. So it's an easy to use, ready to go personal lab. And we already have a lot of interest in this device. Let me give you some examples. There's the maker movement. These are people interested in 3D printers and electronics, these things. And 60% have indicated that they want to work with biotech. And then there's DIY Bio. This is a network of thousands of amateur scientists who want to take biotech outside of the lab. And our market research has shown that in both of these cases, these communities are held back by a lack of safe and ready-to-go equipment like Bento Lab. So this is a big opportunity. Okay, let me show you what you can do with Bento Lab. Let's say you're in Europe and there's another meat scandal. Now you can take a sample, analyze the DNA, look at the genetics inside of the meat and find out what your meat was really made of. Or, okay, let's look at sushi, because I love sushi and we're in Japan. But in the United States, for example, 60% of all the fish sold as tuna is not real. So now if you're brave enough, you can find out. Okay, so Bento Lab, thank you. Bento Lab can answer all these kinds of questions for you. But it can do a lot more. You read the last one. It can do a lot more. Let me show you one more really cool example. You can use it to program with DNA. Yeah, you can use Bento Lab to put different pieces of DNA together. They do different things, and you can actually program with DNA. It's a genetic program. And then you can take this genetic program and plug it into a bacteria and make it do different things. So, for example, for fun, you can make a bacteria that glows. Or you can make a bacteria that smells like banana. We can go there fast enough. But you can do all kinds of stuff. You can make a sensor that detects dangerous chemicals, or you can make a little factory that produces bioplastic for your 3D printer. Lots of different applications. Okay. Now, let's look at some potential markets. Of course, there's education, in particular college students who are studying life science and bio-related subjects. Now, around the world, they're getting less and less practical laboratory time. And this is really frustrating. Now, in Japan, Europe and the United States alone, there are currently 5 million life science students. So we think this is a really big market of potential students using Bento Lab to get a much more practical experience. It takes a while to get it out of the bag. Okay. Now, I already said there is the DIY Bio movement and the maker movement. Let me give you some real numbers. Around the world now, there's more than 130 million makers, and this number is growing fast. They put $29 billion into the economy each year. Half of them are less than 35 years old, and they spend around $1,000 each year on different projects. So we think these are some really nice numbers for markets we want to go into initially. Let me talk a bit about my team. My co-founder Beth and I have a lot of experience in doing these DIY bio projects and in synthetic biology in general. And we also come with a cultural understanding of the maker movement, of how people learn how to program and code, and of laboratory practices. We think this understanding is going to be really crucial. And of course, we have a great team around us, people from hardware prototyping, bioengineering, and design. Now, just to recap, 50 years ago, we saw a personal computer revolution, and it changed our lives. We are envisioning a personal biotech revolution. 50 years ago, no one had any idea what people would be using computers with, and we think that people are going to use the same. People are going to say the same about biotech in 20 years. Okay, just to wrap up, I have one more thing to say, and I have a bit more time. It's such a great honor to be here. Now, we only founded this company a couple of months ago. It was a passion project for us, and we thought this really deserves our full-time attention. And so we're stopping pursuing PhDs and other things and actually doing this full-time. We only made this decision very recently, and so we're really looking for strategic partnerships for investors, people who share our vision. So please check out our Twitter and our websites. I'd love to talk to you later. I'll be here as long as it takes. So I have lots of new business cards. I'd love to give you some. Thank you very much.